Welcome, students. Please keep yourself tuned in for the fourth edition of Lead MasterClass. We'll be going live soon in a couple of minutes with a former captain of the Indian Army, a columnist, an author, a keynote speaker, and a faculty of leadership, strategy, and change management, Captain Raghu Raman. In the comment box, do tell us how excited you feel about today's masterclass. Captain Raghu Raman will be telling us all about his journey when he was a captain in the Indian Army, and how he got into personality development, and how coming from an army background helped him shape his exemplary personality he is today. And yes, things that you can do as a student to groom your own personality as well. So stay tuned in for an exciting session ahead. Thank you.
Thanks a ton, Himanshu. Can you see me?
Yes, Captain.
All right, okay. Because I'm not getting a feedback on my screen. So let me just take this. All right, I got that. So firstly, very good morning to you. Thanks a ton for this opportunity to speak with you. I know I'm the fourth in the series, and I had a look at some of the speakers before me. My favorite, my personal role model and icon, Sunil Gavaskar, and of course, Sania Mirza. It was very interesting to see so many of you have logged on to this particular session as well. So as Himanshu pointed out, I want to talk to you a little bit about personality development. And rather than speak about myself or how I develop my personality, I want to share with you what I think is a very simple way to understand personality development or leadership also. Now, a simple mechanism to understand is, I've got it in my hand here. It's a torch. This is a personality. It explains in a very simple way. As you're aware, to make light, the torch needs to have three things. First, it needs to have a bulb. Then it needs to have a reflector around the bulb. And it needs to have battery inside this. And all three need to be connected. If these three are not connected, then the bulb, no matter how strong the battery is, the bulb will not light. No matter how strong the bulb is, the bulb will not light, and no matter how bright the reflectors are, it's of no use unless these three are connected together. So what I'm going to talk to you about is going to be a very simple mechanism for remembering what is the sum total of personality. What does personality really mean? And let's start with the bulb. The bulb is who you are. Some of you may be about 10 years old, some of you may be 15, 16, and I'm sure there are many parents sitting all there listening to this as well. All of us have a bulb of 0 watts when we are born. Not really 0 watts, maybe 5 watts, because we can still cry, we can still make noises, and then we start recognizing people, we start wanting things, which as children, you may not remember it, but I'm sure if you have some younger sibling, you might observe, and you might see that they will pick up something, they will hold it in their hands, they will taste it, and that is how our wattage starts improving. Then we start studying, we go to school, we go to do extracurricular activities, we sometimes travel, some of us have the opportunity to travel abroad, and then we see other countries, other kind of people, and our wattage increases, and slowly our bulb's watt increases. But we need to focus more on making this wattage increase. We have to do it consciously. And how can we do that? First and foremost, I think we have to be very curious. All the time, we have to wonder, how is this working? Ye kaisa hota hai? If you ever go to a mall and look at a restaurant, look at how is this restaurant working? How many people are working here? How is this product? Just inherent curiosity about everything. If you're using a crayon, how is this crayon made? How does this color red come into it? If you start making your mind curious, automatically your wattage will start improving, because you will start being more inquisitive about things. You'll start asking about things that maybe don't interest you immediately. But if you come to know what is the background behind it, you will get very, very interested as to how that is working. Now, how do you do that? How can you do it in a structured manner? So first, of course, the best and the most powerful tool for increasing your wattage is reading. Because when you read, you are able to go into the experience of other people who have done it. You're able to see the life stories of people who have lived before us, great leaders, great people. And when you read their biographies, you learn something very important. Of course, you learn from their life. There is no doubt about it. You learn so many things, but you also learn that they were also afraid. They were also scared. They also had failure. They were also not treated very well sometimes. They were also bullied. They were also put down in class. They were also sometimes, parents were very angry with them. Some of them didn't have parents also. So when you start reading, the first thing is you will start opening your world, which is not limited by resources, money. I can't travel abroad. Doesn't matter if you can't travel abroad. If you read 10 books about the country, and not just guidebooks or things like that, but deep books about the literature of that country. You watch a few movies about that country, you will have a much better understanding. Of course, you may not be able to go, but that should not prevent the mind from improving its wattage. We have many such ways to improve our wattage. I'm going to give you a few examples. Just think about it. In our own city, whichever city we are living in, whether you're living in Bombay, I live in Bombay, for example, okay, and many of you might be living in Maharashtra. I don't know how many of you have heard of a place called Lonar. Now, Lonar is about 4-5 hours from Bombay. About 8 hours from Bombay, ahead of Aurangabad. And it is a place where a meteor came and struck Earth, planet Earth, and created a crater which is 2 kilometers wide. It's a big pond. Now, I'm sure some of us may have heard about it. Not very many people have heard about it. It is an amazing miracle. It's got a different ecosystem. The water content there is different. After all, it is a component from another galaxy which has come into our planet and probably crossed huge seismic changes. Imagine a meteor of that size hitting planet Earth at some point of time. What impact it must have had. It is just 400 kilometers away. And I'm sure many of us who have stayed in Maharashtra have not thought of even going there. Similarly, you don't even have to go inside your own city. There'll be many places where if you just pay the bus fare on a Saturday or a Sunday and just spend the whole day there, just walking around, looking, even listening to somebody else, maybe some other guide group. You know, someone is taking another group on guide and you just hang on with that group and keep listening. You are getting for free. Okay, I've done all of this stuff. That's why I'm telling you from personal experience. When I was a kid, when I didn't have money, many times if I'm going to Qutub Minar and I'm hanging out, I'll see a expat group which has come there and they are being obviously taken around by a very good guide. And you just tag along and if sometimes smile at the guide and the guide will let you be. And you are listening to a completely different rendition of the same monument which you had been crossing in your school bus every day. All of this comes from curiosity and all of this adds to the wattage of your bulb. The more general knowledge you know, the more you know about different things, the more you know about different things from different areas, not just engineering, mathematics, studies also. So I will tell you this person, and this is my request also to parents when I'm speaking. When we were growing up, I studied in a school which was, it's a very good school. I'm not saying anything against the school, but it was a school which focused a lot on the academic ability of students to regurgitate information. And it is not the fault of that school. Perhaps in that era, all schools were like that. And perhaps even in today's era, there are many schools like that. There are many institutions like that. Again, this is a matter of personal preference, so I'm not going there. But what happens is that in such schools, in all schools, there are set methods of measurement. There are methods of measurement. So if you get 98% in mathematics, it's good. If you get 75% in literature, then very good. Now, these are all, metrics that are made. And unfortunately, we all come from an era of education where these metrics mattered because there were structured jobs. And therefore, these metrics have unfortunately carried on a little further than they are required. What happens is in these kind of environments, focus goes completely on becoming better in science or better in the mathematics or better in this. But in life, we will find that as your personality has to grow, as you have to have a sense of leadership, you need to know a lot of things about a lot of things. Only then you will be able to cross-pollinate all of them and come up with new ideas. You will be able to come up with, oh, if I connect this or connect this, I will have something which is new. I often talk about an example which usually is for more, in more senior audience, senior as in elderly, but I'm sure, I'm very, very positive that all of us will understand this example. Suppose we take the example of a company called Apple. The company that makes the iPhone and iPad and all of that stuff. And suppose somebody asks, what company is it? Is it a manufacturing company? Is it an automobile company? Is it a hotel company? Is it a theater company? What company it is? Most adults, ask your parents right now, most adults will tell you it's a technology company. It's a why? Because it makes computer, it makes iPad, it makes iPhone. So it's a technology company. But is it a technology company? Think about it. See how beautiful the product is. See how nicely it is packaged. See how simple it is. And you will see the reflection of the founder of that group, whose name was Steve Jobs. Now, Steve Jobs, remember I told you it's very important to read biographies. Steve Jobs had a passion for good handwriting, which, by the way, is a good thing to have. Even in the day and age of computer and typing, having a good handwriting is very, very good. If we have time during the Q&A, please ask me why. So he was very, very fond of calligraphy. And that is why you see Apple fonts are very beautiful. Those of you have seen or have an iPhone, very lucky people. But those who don't, you must have seen in an iPad in some place, in some other friend of yours or something like that. So it was a mixture of many things that he was passionate about. He took many, many different things that he liked a lot, and he combined them together to create something which changed the world. Influenced the world, changed the world, but influenced a lot of the. So similarly, try and expand the wattage of your mind by, I'm sure you have relatives who work in different industries. Somebody is working in aviation industry. Catch hold of that uncle one day. Say, "Mere ko samjhao, explain to me how this aviation industry, not how plane goes and comes down, that I also know. But tell me how this industry works. How much is a plane cost? How does it entire thing? How do they manage in this ATC, this plane? If somebody is from automobile manufacturing, ask them those. So constantly be curious and don't worry about the size of that business. Even if it is a roadside vendor or the newspaper delivery person or even the person who washes cars or something, have conversations with them. Be curious about improving your knowledge. Remember, knowledge is not only from books, only from classroom, only from teachers. Knowledge, that is knowledge. That is a very important part of knowledge. No doubt about it. I am not reducing the importance of that you need to have foundation. I'll talk in a little while about why that is important. But anyway, so before I forget, I want to make sure that I've covered all the points that I wanted to talk about in terms of, so another great way, two or three aspects I wanted to talk to you about. One, I stress the importance of reading. Now, let me amplify, let me expand on that. And this is very important. And please pay a lot of attention to this. And here I'll request the parents also to pay a lot of attention. What kind of reading? So there are 4 or 5 kinds of reading. There's one reading in WhatsApp, small, 4 lines, 5 lines, Instagram, that reading. Twitter gives us some news. There is another kind of reading, which is maybe in the newspaper, which is about 800 words. I write for the newspaper, so I know that you have to try and compress your thoughts in 800 words. Then there is something which is slightly a longer format you might have in a magazine, which is about 8-9 pages, dealing with a subject like climate change. It is dealing with a subject like you have. And then you have books about that subject. What I mean by reading is reading books. These 3 other things that I spoke about, I think they contribute maybe about 5% of improving your wattage. 5%. They don't increase more than that. Okay. It's like a simple example is, you have charger, you have one simple charger and then you have fast charger. The fast charger is much more powerful. Reading books is a fast charger. Why? There is no way a complicated issue can be explained in 800 words or 150 words or 140 characters or in 12 pages. It cannot be explained. It cannot be explained. It's not simply possible, because any complicated issue, whether it is climate change you are hearing about, or digitization, or the new COVID phenomenon which is coming, what is going to happen, what is going to happen to the world in the future. I know what a lot of you will be worried. A lot of you will be worried about, because you hear your parents' conversations also, you hear your friends' conversations. Many of you might be worried, oh, my friend's father lost his job. Will it happen to my parents? Many of you might be worried about that. Many of you may see the strain at home and all of that. Now, to understand a complicated thing, if you think I will read a small article in the newspaper or something, you will not understand the depth of it. You will understand somebody's opinion of it. Someone who has made an opinion has written that piece, you will understand. To understand the real foundation, you will have to read a lot of books. And that is why reading physical books is very, very important. Not abstract, not abridged. Now, many of you might say, oh, but I can read in Kindle. Kindle is digital. It has the full edition. I would advise you not to. And this is where I want the parents to pay a little bit of attention, because it's very important. Whenever we study, whenever we read anything, or whenever we absorb information, our brain operates in one of the two ways. One way, it is absorbing the information. The other way is it's switching to problem solving. It's immediately switching to problem solving. Okay. Now, when you're absorbing information exactly as you're absorbing right now, if I ask you, what is in your right hand? Look down. Immediately your brain goes into a problem solving mode. Your absorption stops, problem solving begins, exactly as it happened right now. Now, when you are reading in a digital medium, you are absorbing and suddenly you come across a hyperlink. Now your brain will go into a problem solving method, even if you have decided that I will not click on any hyperlink. Even if you have decided that, your brain will still have to make a decision. No, I have decided not to click, and your brain will move away from absorption to problem solving. So your capability to understand that subject or understand that what you are trying to read, it will be reduced dramatically. So when I talk about improving the wattage and talk about reading, I am recommending that it should be reading of books. It doesn't have to be thick books. It can be books which is easily readable in your age category, whatever. And I'll give you another piece of advice. Always try to attempt to read a category slightly above. So if there are books, if you are 10 years old, 12 years old, and there are books for 14, 15, of course, take approval of your parents about the title. Okay. And then if you have those books, try reading them, because then you'll be challenged. You'll discover words that you don't know. You will have to ask people, what is the meaning of this word? Ask people. Don't go to Google, uncle. Ask people, what is the meaning of this word? Look in a book, because when you look in a book, you will see 2-3 other words around it also. If you ask Google, Google will only give you that one answer. So go back to spending more time on books, and your wattage will. I promise you one thing, try this for 3 months. Try this for 3 months, or maybe even 3 days, and then tweet me. What do you think? Did it work? Did it not work? And you will find that it will start working dramatically. Another method in which we can get a very good improving of our bulb is by watching movies, good movies, documentary movies, classic movies. I'll tell you something very funny, that despite the fact that I studied in a very, very, kadak school, which was focusing a lot on academics, and despite the fact that I had a very, very kadak mother who was focusing a lot on the academics, she would not let me read comics, no distraction from studies and all of that stuff, as I'm sure some mothers and some fathers are who are listening to this. I would find time to do both. And I think that was good. That was good. Not always, but it was good, because there were alternate avenues of education that I got through films, through even comics, through. So when I was a kid, I was really fond of a series of comics called the Commando comics. I don't know whether they are available now, but I don't know whether they're very popular now or not. Now, Commando comics may be about war, but it also taught me the geography of Europe. It taught me many, many German words. It taught me about the technology. And maybe at some point of time, it also influenced me in my desire to join the Indian Army or whatever. Maybe it did. I don't know. But the alternate sources of this education are a very important mechanism. Films are one. If you watch, say, Invictus, I'm just taking an example, Invictus. You can learn a lot about apartheid. You can learn a lot about a new sport called rugby, which you may not have played, you may not be familiar with, you may not know the nuances of, but it's a very popular game now, an extremely popular game. And you will learn about Nelson Mandela. You will learn about integration. You will learn how two clans or two groups of people who were enemies before can actually work together as a team. All of these lessons you can learn from watching a movie like Invictus. You watch this Bubbly and Imbly or whatever, it's not going to help you much. It will entertain you, but it will not help you much. So if you see one thing, all of us sitting in this webinar have in common, one thing. We have it common with the richest man in the world, the poorest man in the world, the wealthiest man, the biggest person, the smallest person. Exactly, all of us have 24 hours a day. Exactly. The richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, cannot buy one more hour in tomorrow. He just can't. He can put all them. Of course, he can eat well and exercise, which you should also do, to improve his longevity. But he can't say in today 24 hours, can you give me one more hour? It's not possible. So this is one resource that you have to decide how you're going to spend. If you're going to spend it watching, yes, once in a while we have to watch an entertainer. Once in a while we have to, see something which is completely fun. But most of the time, you are, by the way, let me tell you, this is something that I'm telling you from my experience. We are not a product of a major decision that we will take one day in our life. Yeah, one day in our life, we may take a decision which may take us into a certain career, or take us into a certain college, or take us into a certain discipline. Someone might become a doctor, someone might become an engineer. But the person we will be is not by some major decision that from tomorrow I'll start being healthy. It doesn't work like that. Or from tomorrow I'll start improving my wattage. It is happening every day, little by little, little by little. And the best way to measure that is, where is 24 hours going? Because that is the only resource you can measure. So if you look at an Olympic athlete, the Olympic athlete is exercising for 8 hours a day and consuming about 6,000, 8,000 calories. Without consuming 6,000, 8,000 calories, without exercising 8 hours, at least 8 hours a day, you cannot be a gold medalist. It's as simple as that. So even if some people say, oh, I don't work hard, I work smart. Guess what? Other people are working hard and smart. So if you have to be good in whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. I don't mean in academics. I mean, I was never a very good student in school, very, very clearly. I used to come first, second from the bottom. So that is not the important part. The important part is, are you educating yourself from many, many other such sources, which I mentioned? It could be travel, it could be going to art museum. Ek din jaake dekho art museum mein kya hota hai. Let's see what happens. Look at some of those paintings and say, okay, explain to me. I went when I was about 14 years old. I went to an art museum. It was free. You could just walk in. And honestly speaking, in Delhi, during summer vacations, we had 2 months of summer vacation and no money. So you had to find ways of staying away from the heat, and AC, the only places were theaters, which cost money. The other place was museums. You go to museums, you do British Council Library and all of that. And normally, if you just go and you're decently dressed and grab 1 or 2 brochures from the gate, keep looking at them and walk inside and be interested. Even if you go to the curator and ask and be interested, they are very keen. They help you. They say, okay, somebody's come who's interested. They're also looking to help. And not only it opens a completely different world, Nehru Planetarium or this thing, that thing, wherever. It actually creates a much more tangible information in your head. So anyway, I think I've spoken a lot about the bulb. I want to keep a check on the time as well. The second part I think you need to focus on is that you need to develop two areas. I'll talk about 2 or 3 skills and 2 areas. One area, you need to develop something at which you are very good, right? Doesn't have to be studies. Doesn't have to. When I was young, this is when I was in college, I suddenly got fond of this thing called a nunchaku. Some of you might have seen it in a martial arts movie. So when I was growing up, Bruce Lee was an iconic star. I mean, The movie Enter the Dragon, I think me and many of my friends and many of my generations must have seen that film about 8 times, 10 times. See it today. Then again, it was iconic. Those days we didn't have streaming media or video. We couldn't rewind and see. So if you saw a scene, the only way to see it again was to see the movie again. There was no other option. So I sort of got enamored by this nunchaku and basically taught myself, from this thing, that thing, broken elbows, this, that, hurt head, but figured it out eventually and became good at it. And it was not to do anything. It was not for showing off. It was just to become really good at it. Find one hobby, find something. It can be playing a song, playing an instrument or whatever that you are passionate about, and become good at it. And here I have one advice for you. I am biased because I like that, but I think it's a very good advice to you. Learn magic. Now you might be wondering, why am I saying magic? 2-3 reasons. It's a very simple art form. You can perform it with a coin, with a group of cards, with a cup and saucer, with a rope, with anything. And it's a performance art. So you have to perform it in front of people. You have to perform it in front of your friends, with your relatives, with your uncles, aunts. You have to perform in front of them. When you're performing, you're actually developing your personality. You're developing the ability to stand in front of people and do public speaking. You're developing the ability to create an impression. You are developing to learn the art of body language, that where do people pay attention, where don't they pay attention. You are learning timing, because how long do people pay attention to. You are learning elements like psychology, like surprise, like astonishment. When you learn these things, these are skills which can be used in many other places. It is not just skill to be used in magic. It is skills to be used in many other places. By the way, this is a very interesting point to answer a question which I'm sure many students have. I also had it. I had it for many years. I used to ask, the trigonometry, calculus, differential equation, this quadratic equation, algebra, what the hell am I going to use it for? When will I use it? And I used to wonder, why am I? English was interesting because of stories and all of that. Geography to a certain extent, civics, maybe history and all of that. But this body thing, engineering, diagram, but there is a reason for that, which I discovered many years later. And now I'm advocating it, and please listen to this so that you don't waste the amount of time I wasted. It is just like when you go to a gym to do push-ups or to do pull-ups or you do any exercise, right? So when you see cricketers spend a lot of time in the gym. Right? They'll be lifting weights, they'll be, doing weights and all of that. Now in cricket, there is no move which requires you to go up and down like this. There's no move which requires you to go up and down, apart from winning maybe. But otherwise, you don't need to go up and down like this. Why do they lift weights? Because it strengthens their shoulders, it strengthens their muscles, strengthens their bones, get the coordination together. So when you solve difficult trigonometric problems, essentially what the academic curriculum and your teachers are teaching you, that suppose you are confronted with something that you know nothing about. You know nothing about trigonometry. Actually, if you're in grade 5 or 6 or 7, you maybe know nothing about trigonometry. But when your brain develops to a point and these things are taught to you, completely alien, sometimes things you don't even like it. Why don't you like it? I don't understand. I'm not good in maths. I don't like maths. Okay, fine. That's a story you have told yourself. You have told yourself that story. I'll tell you why. Because your brain is computing millions of calculations every minute for you to even be able to walk, for you to even be able to look at even to be able to look at the screen, even to have the coordination of taking your hand and putting it down. Your brain is doing these calculations, mathematical calculations, which is not possible even by many supercomputers today. I'll give you an example. Many of you must be watching the game of cricket. So let's say the batsman hits a 6 and let's say the bowler is running to catch the ball like that. He's running, looking at the ball and running. The calculation that is required to calculate the parabola of that ball, which is coming all the way from the batsman, coming in a loop, when the runner is running in this direction, looking up like that and calculating how much of wind is coming against his face, compensating for what is the wind direction and coming under the ball. Supercomputers can't do this. So don't say you're not good in maths. You're amazing in maths. You're amazing in geography. You're amazing in science. You're amazing in anything. You've been told by a group of people and maybe by your experience, or I couldn't solve the problem, he solved it like this, and therefore he's good in maths. No, he knows a technique, he knows a method, he knows the way to solve it. I'm sure you must have seen some puzzles. Sometimes there's a puzzle like this, you have to open the puzzle, and if you know how to do it, it's very simple. If you don't know how to do it, you are at it all the time, but that doesn't make you a bad puzzle solver, a bad problem solver. No, you just don't know how to do it, right? Which brings me back to the wattage. How do you improve the wattage? By the way, magic is another good reason you should learn, because it teaches you how to solve problems, how to make impossible things happen. All right. I've spoken a lot about the bulb. Now I want to speak about the reflector. What is the reflector? What makes what makes this wattage project into the world? What do the people see? Because after all, the bulb has its wattage, but you also have to project it in the world. First and foremost advice, always stand straight. Always stand straight. There's a reason. I'm sure many times you would have heard teachers also telling you, hey, sit up straight or stand straight. And you think they're telling you just to finger it. I'm sitting comfortably like this and sit up straight. Many times you may have felt when you achieved something, you ran and you came first, or you got some big score, or you got something that you achieved. You did like this, yay! You did like that, yeah. Blind people do it also. People who have not seen anyone else doing it, they also do it. This is a natural body expression of elation, of being happy, of being achiever, of being the winner. You've done it in cricket matches when you have played with your friends and yay, out, yay. Why will you do that? Because this body function is a function of achievement and elevation. But the interesting thing is, it's a two-way motion. If you are happy and elated, you do like this. But if you do like this, you become happy and elated. Try it. If you're ever feeling a little depressed or is that, if you just did like this 2-3 times, buddy, hell, I'm good, yeah. Last I did that, I won the last match, I've done this in my life. You just say this to yourself a few times and suddenly you start feeling elated. When you stand straight, you feel tall. People look at you in a different way. You must have seen it many times. You must have felt also, oh, this guy must be an army guy. Why is it an army guy? Not because he's got a short haircut or whatever. It need not be an army guy also. It could be any person who has the ability to just stand straight. And the moment you stand straight, you will see your day changing. Everything changes. People around you will change. The way you will be seen. I'm not saying be, in your face. That's not the idea. Stand straight. Stand as if there is a cable which is pulling you from the back of your head and pulling you straight, and your spine is straight. You will see how it may sound like a very simple thing, but the moment you start doing it, you will see how the world and how your ecosystem, how you will start feeling different. The second tip of radiating is to smile. And smile and be happy. Now, it's a very simple thing to say, smile and be happy. You don't have a big problem. I have this teacher and I have this homework back I have to do, and that bully in my school who's bullying me, or that, my dad who very whacks me every time I get a bad report. So for you, it's easy to say, smile and be happy. True. I acknowledge all these problems. These are all real problems. But the way to smile and be happy, two tricks, two realities, which I'm telling you now with great deal of humor and confidence and all of that. Not that when I was your age, I was not having those fears. We will talk about fears in a bit, but I was not concerned about them. I was very, very concerned about them. But the only thing I can tell you, two things. Firstly, whatever you are really, really worried about is not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. It appears like a big deal right now. It appears like, I don't know how I'm going to pass this exam. I don't know how this will happen. I don't know, depending on which class you are in, board exam, this, that, whatever. Or like I gave some other examples about bullies in the school, or some teacher who is, messing with you, or even more serious problems than that. But yes, in a year from now, 2 years from now, it'll seem irrelevant, and you'll look back and you will laugh. You'll laugh at it, right? The trick is in convincing and believing that, I know the line sounds very, very stupid to say, but it is true. It's a very powerful line that this will pass. This particular phase, it will pass through it. And when we come out from the other side, things will be much, much better. So there is that sense you must have. The second is, no matter how bad things are, no matter how bad the situation is, we are still blessed. If we are sitting here in this environment and listening to me in English and understanding English, then you already belong to 0.000000001% of Indian children who were born in the right family, got the basic food, nutrition, all of that right, had parents who had the wherewithal to, whether they did it by struggling, and all parents struggle, or they did it easily, they had the wherewithal to, sort of help you. Most of us, all body parts and everything were working. And we are now in a place where we have the opportunity to listen to people such as Sunil Gavaskar and Sania Mirza. And those are the Chetan Bhagat. These are the kind of people teaching. We are already in a very happy place compared to millions and millions and millions of people exactly your age who just happen to be born in the wrong family, or not wrong, but a different family. So you won the lottery of life. So you cannot be unhappy. Yes, you will have unhappy moments. There's no debating that. But whenever you have this unhappy moment, just remember and say, yeah, this, all these things are good. Yes, this is a particular thing which is bad. And I wish this thing was not there, but I know this will pass. You should have that. So if you're a happy person, if you're a caring person, if you're a listening person, your reflector becomes very powerful. Because if you're a happy person, you radiate happiness. People want to be with you. Nobody wants to be with the person who's always, ye theek nahi hai, yaar, wo theek nahi hai, bus late aati hai, teacher kharab hai, this is bad, that is bad, this Coke doesn't taste good. That kind of a person nobody wants to be with, because that person will find a fault and bring toxicity in everything. By the way, I'm sure all of you have one friend who is like that. And let me also tell you, that poor friend of yours also is like that because she has been subjected to that environment, or he has been subjected to that environment. In his environment, maybe, for whatever reasons, maybe his caregivers or whatever were of that behavior. So he also, or she also turned it. So you don't have, buddy, this person is bad. No, fundamentally, nobody is bad. Everyone is a result of what stories they heard, what people told them, what they think is right. Some people believe eating meat is bad. Some people believe drinking milk is bad. These are all behaviors which they were told as stories. It doesn't mean they are bad. It is just that they have a different story than your story. So smile, be caring, and be a good listener. The moment you become a good listener, if you just keep listening to people, and if anyone asks them about you later on, they'll say that person is an amazing conversationalist. Badi achhi baatein karta hai yaar. Baatein nahi karte hain aap. You're only listening. But the other person is feeling that you are, you care. You are interested in. Just do one thing. I know it may be hard for many of us. For me also, it's very hard, by the way. But if we find for next 1 week, I will see how much I don't speak and I listen. It must come to a point where your friends ask you, is everything okay? You're not talking too much. And yeah, everything is okay. I just listening to you guys, and see how your reflector quotient, magnetic quotient actually improves dramatically. Try all these things which I'm telling you. By the way, all of these things, I'll send you a note so that you don't have to worry that you'll forget it, or it'll be there on the YouTube also, but I'll send you a synopsis of it. And if you just practice it for, say, 3 weeks, 21 days, as they say, I don't know, habit takes 21 days to break. I'm not very sure. I think it can be broken in 5 days also, 1 day, 1 hour also. But I just want to I just wanted to give you that advice. Also, another aspect I want to tell you, this is an interesting thing, that sometimes when we want something, we don't get it. Most of the time, many times we don't want. I mean, you want some object, you don't get it. Like I didn't get my first cycle for a long time before I got it. And then I got it also, it was a second-hand cycle. A good one, nonetheless. I mean, I was equally happy. Or sometimes you want to get into a certain class and you don't get into that class. So you're unhappy. Or you want to get a particular, I don't know, thing for birthday and you don't get it and you are unhappy. I think happiness and getting something have no correlation, and I'll tell you why. You might say, "Bakwas, I want a new iPad, yeah, I want a new Mac Air, and if I got a Mac Air, I'll be very happy." Yeah, probably. I mean, even if I got it, I'd be happy. But I think we have to realize. I'll tell you a story. So when we were growing up, there was no music channel, no MTV, MTV, and all that shit. Okay, so basically, we used to have. I said a bad word. Basically, we used to have a program called Chitrahar every week, and we had one Sunday movie, one English program on Sunday, some Star Trek or some such thing, and in Thursdays we used to have a program called Phool Khile Hain Gulshan Gulshan. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of your parents, if not parents, grandparents definitely would be agreeing with me right now. They would all be, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Most of you would know what I'm talking about. So Chitrahar used to have 6 songs. And we used to listen with bated breath. Any song, jo bhi gana hai, pata nahi kab ka 60s ka song hai, 30s ka song hai, any song, we listen to it. Kabhi out of that 6 songs, one song will be a more recent song. Sometimes once in a blue moon, a hit song. So we'd go berserk. And like I told you, those days, no rewinding, no recording. So life has just passed. That's it. Like real life, by the way. It just passes. You can't rewind life. So the sense of anticipation was such. Before Chitrahar, the entire colony used to become vacant. People would all go home and to watch the Chitrahar. It was that. Why? Was it because those songs were so powerful, or was it because it was denied? Was it because of that? Of course, it may have been because of that, but it was because of anticipation. Because you were anticipating something. You were wanting to do. Your anticipation of a vacation, the days leading up to the vacation, is always more fun in your heart and your head than the actual vacation. Of course, in the actual vacation, you have fun. I'm not debating it. But when you think about those days, we are going to go, we are going to do this, or we are going to do that, or we are going to watch this film. That we are going to watch this film is very, very exciting, equally exciting than actually getting it. The other thing you must remember is sometimes things that are denied to you by life are denied for a reason. They're denied for a reason. Whoever you believe in, whatever power you believe in, that power is denying that to you for a reason. I'll give you a personal story. So as a kid, I used to like to read a lot, and all sorts, comics, I used to read a lot. But we couldn't afford them. But I was lucky that I could either rent it. I could rent it from libraries, or friends would lend it. And by the way, I want to talk about 2 or 3 skills. Remind me if I forget about it in the Q&A. But one of the skills I want to talk about is speed reading. And if I speak about it now, I will get distracted. So we'll park it for the moment. What was I speaking? So I get distracted very easily. It doesn't matter if you do, okay? In school, I was always accused of being daydreaming all the time, thinking. It's all right to do that. Don't worry about it. Coming back to this story. I used to be very, keen about reading, but I won't be able to afford the books and all that. So there was some distant relative, not even relative, I think, some uncle. Never met him after that. He came to our house to stay in Delhi. And he had a daughter of approximately my age. So, and he obviously was very well to do. And he, at least by our standards, he was very well to do. So he very, grandiosely told me, "Oh, Raghu, tell me, is there any good bookshops here where there's some good, where I can pick up some books for my daughter?" So I said, "Yeah, of course." And I knew exactly the shop to go to, South Extension, because it was my aspiration shop and all of that stuff. We went there, and I actually helped him pick out Hardy Boys, and because I like Hardy Boys, and since she was a girl, I also picked out some Nancy Drew. Again, your parents will be recognizing these names. And set of about 6 books, brand new. They even smell nice, new books smell nice and all of that. And took those set of books. We went home. And in the evening, in the night, I picked up one of them and I started reading it because I know that he is going to leave tomorrow. But I can read one, right? Or I can read some parts. So I actually expected at least he'll give one to me. He didn't. But I was reading, and he was sitting there in the sofa reading a newspaper, and he glanced at me, and then he made an observation. He said, "My daughter doesn't like books that are I mean, used, I'm giving it to her as a birthday present, and I don't want the book to be used. I mean, I had taken this clown to that shop and bought helped select the books, and forget the courtesy of telling me, okay, this, 3 are for you or something like that. Forget about that. He gives me this gyan that his daughter doesn't like books to be. I was shocked. It hurt me very badly. And today when I think about that incident, I get a little angry. Fortunately for him, he never met me after that. But anyway, jokes apart, I think he did me a very big favor. He did me a favor because I now like to own books. I like to own books. If you ever came into my house, you'd see my house is full of books. I haven't read all of them, and that's true. But because I have not read all of them, I always have a sense that there's a lot to study, there's a lot to read. And usually, whenever I'm struggling with an idea, when I was struggling with thinking about something new or creating something new, I'll pick up 2 or 3 different books and just start reading them and get into them. And usually I'll find that the answer will come there. Okay, so I don't know where this story started from, but I hope, it started from that if something is denied to you, it is denied to you for a reason, and that reason will manifest itself later. So don't worry about it. There is a purpose for it. Someday you will realize, Acha, this was the reason that uncle of mine did not give me that. He created that urge in me, the day I can afford it, I will have the books that I want and I'll keep them with me. That's the sense that I would. So it's always good. Okay.
Captain,
tell me.
We can take a quick break here. We've been receiving thousands of questions from students on the Lead Student app. So can we take a quick break to ask Captain Raghu some of these questions?
Sure.
Yes. So Nisha from Indus World School asks, what kind of personality does a student should have to be a topper in life?
Who asked this question?
Nisha from Indus World School asked.
Okay, so Nisha hasn't been listening to what I've been saying. I think I just explained what kind of personality you need to have. You need to have an all-rounded personality. You need to be liked by everybody, not just by your teachers, not just by the academics. You need to be liked by your friends also. You need to be liked by your maid, by your driver, by your housekeeping, by the several people who run the school. They must think of you as a good person. And the only way to achieve that is to be a good person. When I say good person, doesn't mean that you will not do anything wrong, being kind to those people, even if you cannot give anything to anybody. Let's say you are walking on the road and you see a beggar and you don't have money to give the beggar. You still can give that person something. You can give that person respect. You can give that person a smile. You can say, actually, and smile at that person and go. You don't have to look at bloody hell, don't do it. So we always have something to give. And if we give that, I think you will be a topper in life. Now, I don't know if you're talking about being a topper in school or topper in academics or topper in... I have found that when you look at people around you who are toppers in life, and by life, I don't mean achieving... by life, I mean being happy, being contented. I have found that usually the academic correlation, academic topping, and the general happiness, general achievement, general respect, that the genuine respect that they command has really no correlation. It doesn't have. So don't worry about being a topper in your class. If that happens, it's good. And it's good to be a topper in anything that you do. I have been in many of the courses I've done in the army. I've topped the course. So it's not, I'm saying that, it's bad to be a topper. No, not at all. But it is also important to try to be not topper, but try to be in the top 10 in life also, in happiness also. So that's the way I would say that should be the personality.
Thank you, Captain. I think that's very well put. And thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. We have another student asking a very interesting question. So a student asks, what is the importance of developing personality development from the very young age in life?
Well, I think I gave that example. We have not only 24 hours in a day, we have only 12 months in a year, and we have only 10 years before we become 10 years, right? So the earlier you start charging that bulb, and the earlier you start working on the reflector. Matter of fact, I didn't get the chance to come to the battery. The battery are your parents, your teachers, your relatives, your neighbors. These are your batteries. And the more you are charging the wattage, the battery, and the reflector from the earliest stage possible, the better the personality becomes, more the wattage is. So a child who gets his first exposure of traveling in a train to the rural Maharashtra at the age of 5 will definitely be more exposed than a child who gets it at the age of 6. He has a 12-month advantage over a child who has done it after 1 year or who's not done it at all. So that experience is not there. So the earlier you start in whatever, I mean, I'm not getting into that, particular, but it's been proven that children who have been listening to classical music even when they were babies, or listening to a certain kind of an environment when they were very, very tiny also, they absorb a lot of that. So the earlier you start, the better it is. Doesn't that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely, Captain Raghu. I think it definitely makes sense.
Time out. This doesn't mean please, I am not endorsing that a 5-year-old kid be thokod with tuition after tuition, and this new companies that have come up and they tell you unless you're a coder, you're not good, unless you're, that's all bullshit. That's complete bullshit. We all mature in our own ages at our own life. Nobody, do you have, Himanshu, for example, or any of the parents sitting over here, do you have, for example, a group of friends only who are 35 years old? When you call a party, do you say, I want people who are only 35 to 36 years old? Nobody else can come. Is that how you shape your friends or your community? But the classroom does that all the time. The classroom says that if you're in class 10, then you must know all of this. Is not required. You must know most of it. And if you're not good in something, if you're not good in mathematics, though I told you there's no such thing. If you're not good in remembering stuff, there's no such thing. I'm one of them. I don't remember stuff at all. I mean, I have to ask the full form of the same acronym several times. I don't remember numbers, but that's the reason why I'm able to join the dots, because I can't see the dot or I can't see the lines. I join them in different ways. And that's where maybe some part of my creativity comes from. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about when I'm saying start early with what's fun to learn. Don't start early by taking, when I told you try and read for 1 year above, I meant read literature, read novels, read articles. So if you think you're too young to be reading Economic Times, read it and see. Check what is there in it. Some of you might be thinking, okay, I can read magazines like India Today, but Economist is too tough for me. Why? Read it. Harvard Business Review, read it. See some terms you don't understand. You will discover them later. That's what I meant by starting at an early age.
Absolutely. I totally agree with when you say that, Captain Raghu. I believe having an open mind and keeping yourself to explore other experiences out of your own comfort zone definitely pushes you beyond beyond your own comfort zone and helps you become a better person and become a growth-oriented person. So while we are totally running out of time here, probably we can squeeze in 2 to 3 more questions for Captain. There are literally over 1,000 questions for you, Captain Raghu, which we are receiving. But in parallel, please do take out time to share your feedback on this masterclass, kids and the guardian with the kids who are watching this session. The link for the form is given in the description of this video. Yes, Captain.
Himanshu, what I'm suggesting is, I know they might, thousands I wasn't expecting. I'm really thankful and flattered also a little bit. But if you would note down my Twitter handle, it's @CaptRaman. Capt Raman. I'll repeat that. CaptRaman. That's my Twitter handle. If you tweet your questions there, I'll try to answer them, because then it benefits everybody rather than sending a mail one-on-one. So yeah, go ahead, Himanshu.
Absolutely. I hope everyone has noted down Captain's Twitter handle. It's CaptRaman. Did I say that right?
No, you did. CaptRaman. Okay.
All right.
Those who have noted down, I've noted down.
Yes. So Fahima from MET Public School asks, I want to ask Captain Raghu, why did he left the army?
Well, a lot of it is serendipity. It happens in life that there are other elements which open up. And in a way, it was good because I left the army and I moved into the corporate sector where I learned a lot about the technology. And when later on life, an opportunity came where I had to put both of those elements together, which are the elements of security and understanding elements of security as well as technology into what was an institution that was required at that point of time in the government. I thought that the blend of both these worlds actually was what made it possible. So in the end, it is, as I said, there is a plan for all of us, and many parts of those plans we don't have a hand over it. But it's always for the best.
That's correct, Captain. We also have a very interesting question by Shripata Subramaniam. So Shripata asks how to improve my leadership qualities. If you have to tell this answer in 3 points, how would you say that, Captain? How to improve my leadership qualities?
Yeah, so I will give you the answer to this one, and please write down the answer to this one, Shripad. I've been asked this question several times, that what is that one thing I can do to improve my personality? What are the 3 things I need to do to improve my leadership? Well, the one thing is there is no such thing as a one thing. Get that into your head. If you start your life with the question that tell me the 3 things that I need to do to become a good leader, then you got the plot wrong. Because there are no 3 things in the world that if you did together, you will become a good leader, a good musician, a good technician, a good teacher, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to do a multitude of things well. So you have to be a learning person. You have to have authenticity. You have to have a sense of purpose. You have to have a sense of energy. You have to have a drive. You need to be able to persuade. You need to be able to negotiate. You need to be able to say sorry when you're wrong. You need to be able to make mistakes, and you need to be able to be okay with living with those mistakes. All of those things take to make a leader. Now, you cannot say, tell me which is the most, by that logic, I'll tell you, out of your diet, tell me which are the 2 most important things, protein and calcium or protein and carbohydrate. So we'll stop the vitamins from tomorrow and let's see what happens. Leadership is the same thing. It's an organic mix of many, many ingredients. It's not the 3 things or 2 things to know to become. There are no, so this listicles, I gave this example in the beginning, no? If you were listening to me from the beginning, you would realize this is the narrative between reading the book or an essay in a magazine or a 800-word article or that 3 things to become a leader. These people usually will become nothing other than followers in social media.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Captain Raghu. While we would have loved to continue talking to Captain for hours, I believe we are really running out of time here. And thank you so much, Captain Raghu, for sharing your journey and tips on personality development. I believe this will go a long way to help acquire one of the most important life skills for thousands of students listening to you today on this masterclass.
So before I end, Shripadu asked me the last question. I was not pouncing on you. Don't take it amiss. I know this is a very common way of asking, tell me the 3 most important things. The answer to that, the question, if you ask me what are the 3 most important things according to you, I will give you my answer to that. My answer to that would be the 3 most important areas where I feel that I need to improve. But what are the 3 most important things or the 3 key things to becoming a leader? That question has no answer. That question, everyone will give you their opinion, and their opinion may not be the right opinion for you. So like I said, let's try and improve the wattage of the bulb, the power of the reflector, and the charge of the battery. And I think by and large, whether it's leadership or personality, we will be better torches.
Absolutely, Captain. Shripad, I believe you have got your answer. Well, students, we are not done yet, and we have some quiz to play today as well. So here we go, our first quiz question coming on your screen right now. So the first quiz question is on your screen right now. What is important for a good personality? Is it A, confidence? Is it B, good posture? Is it C, good etiquette? Or is it D, all of the above? While we wait for some answers, Captain, is there anything you want to add?
Nothing more, Himanshu. Like I said, I'd be happy to send you a kind of a infographic which contains all of the, or rather pamphlet. It's something that I normally give out to students in schools where I visit. I'll be happy to send that across to you, and then you can find a way to send it to your all the participants. Or if they tweet me, I can send it to them directly, either which ways. So
sure. Definitely, Captain. So we have received a right answer, and the right answer is on your screen right now. It's all of the above. I'm presenting you to a next question. What is the ideal time to work towards a good personality? Is it start from school? Is it start from college? Is it after becoming a professional? Or is it don't start at all? All right, so we are starting to get answers for this quiz as well. So Tanishka Patil says that it's D. Khushmeet Kaur says that it's D. Adinav Patil says that it's D. Shivanshi Bhojpuri says that it's A. All right, let's see what the correct answer is on your screen. The correct answer is start from school. It's A. So for all of one who have given the correct answer, congratulations. Presenting you to the next question. What are the traits of a pleasing personality? Is it confident smile? Is it maintaining an eye contact? Is it C, none of the above? Or is it D, both A and B? All right, let's see what the correct answer over here is. But I believe most of you have guessed the right answer. The correct answer is both A and B, option D. Let's see what the next question is on your screen. What is an efficient way to manage time? Okay, is it wearing a watch? Is it planning your day and following it? Is it option C, avoiding wastage of time? Or is it option D, all of the above? Come on, kids, let's see what the correct answer is. We're waiting for your answers. All right, Akash Kumar says that it's option B. Rinsi Romeo says that it's option B. Pratik Kuhar says that it's option D. Tanvi says that it's option A. Let's see what the correct answer is on your screen. It's option B, planning your day and following it. Okay, next question on your screen right now. What is the quality of a good leader? Is it thinking about success? Is it option B, stern and strict? Is it option C, thinking about his team first? Or is it option D, good speaker? Come on, kids, let's see what the correct answer is. Type your answer in the comment chat box. Let's see who would win this time. Let's see who gives the correct answer. Okay, so Sarita Meena says that it's option D. Akant Swarkar says that it's option B. Tanika says it's option D. Surisha Siri says that it's option A. Okay, let's see what the correct answer is on your screen now. It's option C, thinking about his team first. All right, kids. Must say the quiz questions were really exciting, and even more exciting was to see thousands of you really smart kids answering all of them so correctly. So lastly, students, do tune in for the next sessions on personality development with our expert instructor, Dr. Shivani, who has trained thousands of kids all over India. On the next 3 Sundays, that is 12th December, December 19th, and December 26th. For class 1 to class 5, the session will be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And for class 6 to class 9th, the sessions will be from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. These classes will also involve a few assignments, and the top submission will be recognized with certificates. So don't forget to attend these ones. One important note, please do take out time to share your feedback on this masterclass. The link for the form is given in the description of this video. This will really help us to improve our masterclass for thousands of our lead students just like yourself. So I believe, Captain, we have finally come to the end of today's session. We hope all of us will start and continue our journeys of improving and grooming our personality from today onwards. Thank you, everyone. And thank you once again, Captain Raghu, signing off from today's session.
Thank you to all the students who attended, and I hope to see some of you in person. If you ever see me and you want to walk up to me, it will be a great pleasure to hear from you and get a selfie taken with you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Captain Raghu. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. Take care and see you all on next Sunday.